It's hard to deny what Steve Jobs once said. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is a great work. Let's approach this assessment test question with passion and commitment to excellence to make sure we can tell ourselves once we're done that we tried it to the best of our abilities. You're presented with 2x4 matrix. The matrix has 7 numbers inside, and the 8th number is missing. The numbers are 4, 3, 9, 7, 1, 1, 9, and then comes the missing number, which you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 3, choice B, 4, choice C, 5, and last but not least, choice D, 6. Well, I'm on the same page with you. This question may seem daunting at first, but I know you have the skills and creativity to tackle it. Trust in your abilities, and let's explore all possible solutions together. Let's tackle it as a team. Are you ready to show your answer? Let's embark on this exploration journey together and compare our solutions in the end. And if doubt arises, stay resilient and do your best. Each question you attempted, regardless of the outcome, adds to your experience and knowledge bank. The pattern here is tricky, but not unsolvable. Let's look at the first row. It has numbers 4, 9, 1, and 9. We need to double one digit number on the left and then double it again, adding 1 to both multiplications to calculate the 2-digit number on the right. Let's look at the example. 4 multiplied by 2 plus 1 equals 9. 9 multiplied by 2 plus 1 equals 19. Now we can calculate the missing number in the second row. 3 multiplied by 2 plus 1 equals 7. And 7 multiplied by 2 plus 1 equals 15. So the correct answer here is choice C, 5. To get us on the right track with this question and help you solve it, I would like to quote Nelson Mandela. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. So let's approach this assessment test question with determination and perseverance, recognizing that each obstacle we overcome brings us closer to success. You're presented with 3 buckets. Buckets are hanging from the strings, and you need to determine which bucket is the heaviest if all buckets are fixed to equal lengths flexible string. You have 4 choices. Choices are A, B, C, and last but not least, choice D, neither. The only thing obvious here is that this question may seem daunting at first, but I know you have the skills and creativity to tackle it. Trust in your abilities, and let's explore all possible solutions together. Let's tackle it as a team. Are you ready to show your answer? I have no doubts that together we will decode this tough question. And I hope you did give it a try. Remember that every attempt, regardless of the outcome, contributes to your growth and development. To get to the answer, let's first look at the question in more details. We have 3 buckets. Each bucket is connected to the string connectors with the string of the same length. All string connectors are on the same string line. And what we can visually see is that bucket A is in the highest position, bucket B is a little bit lower, and the bucket C is in the lowest position. What does it tell us? What we know from physics is that when multiple objects are suspended from the flexible string, they will settle into the state of equilibrium. In the state of equilibrium, the tension in the string will be equal at all points along its length. However, due to the differences in weight, the heavier bucket will exert a greater downward force on the string compared to the lighter buckets. As a result, the heavier bucket will cause more tension in the string, causing it to sag lower compared to the lighter buckets. This visual cue of the lower position of the bucket C can give you an impression that the bucket C is heavier, even though it may or may not be the case in the reality. But here's the caveat. This would only be true if the distance between string connectors would be the same. This introduces another consideration here, because distance A for the bucket A is greater than distance B, which is greater than distance C for the bucket C. Because the distance shortens between the string connectors, and distance A is greater than distance B, which is greater than distance C, this might explain why bucket B and bucket C is lower still. But it becomes obvious that because the distance between connector shortening, it's impossible to determine which bucket is the heaviest, since shortening of the distance from A to C can explain lower positioning of the bucket, even if buckets would have the same weight. Think about it, because it's very logical. Even if the buckets would be of the same weight, by shortening the distance between string connectors, you will be able to lower the bucket. Based on this, I can conclude that the correct answer here is choice D, neither. But this question is not as obvious. Do you have different considerations? Please make sure to share your thoughts and rationale in comments so we can all learn. You would have to agree that solving this particular problem is like baking a cake. It requires the right ingredients, a bit of precision, and the end result is pretty sweet. I think that looking at each test question this way would be like looking at baking a piece of mosaic of your knowledge, contributing to the bigger picture of your abilities. In this question, you're presented with the set of gears, and you need to determine the direction of the last gear. Your choices for answers are choice A, CW, choice B, CCW, choice C, no movement, and last but not least, choice D, depends on X. Feeling challenged by this question? I totally understand. Remember though, that you are not navigating this path alone. Whether you're a problem-solving expert or a newcomer, I have full faith in your capabilities. Take a moment to gather your thoughts, tap into your imaginative side, and let's triumph over this challenge together. Your solution is almost ready and is definitely within reach. Are you ready with your solution? I hope you are. So let's move forward and compare our versions of the answer. Together, we will unravel the complexities of this assessment test question. I'll ask you for a favor though, and specifically to share your thought process in comments. Your insights might hold the key for all of us to learn and improve. To solve this question, we need to identify which gear is the input, which one is connected to the power source, and which one is the output gear, the final gear that performs the desired task. In the next step, we need to identify the direction of rotation for each gear. Gears can rotate clockwise, this is where abbreviation CW comes from, or counterclockwise, this is what CCW stands for. Let's solve this challenge by following the transfer of rotation from one gear to another. Our first input gear is rotating in clockwise direction. As you might be well aware, when rotation is transferred to another gear, it will be rotated in the opposite direction, which would be counterclockwise. Let's follow the directions for each gear. Input 1 is clockwise, then counterclockwise, clockwise again, counterclockwise again, clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, and the output gear is rotating in clockwise direction. Let me show you alternative way how you can solve it faster. For example, if the number of gears in between input and output is odd, the last gear will rotate in the same direction as input gear. On the other hand, if the number of gears is even, the last gear will rotate in the opposite direction from the first gear. Let's look at the example. Let's look at the odd number of gears. The simplest odd number is 1. The rotations transferred from input clockwise to the next gear counterclockwise, and then to the output, which would be clockwise again. On the other hand, if there is an even number of gears in between input and output, and the smallest even number is 2, you see how rotation converges from input clockwise to the opposite to input counterclockwise at the output gear. With this in mind, let's solve this challenge alternative way. Let's count number of gears in between input and output. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gears. And since there are 7 gears in between input and output gears, which is odd number, the direction of output gear will be the same as the direction of the input gear. So the correct answer here is choice A, CW, clockwise. Let's explore this mind-boggling assessment test together. This question goes beyond typical assessment and validates your attention to details as well as your practical problem-solving techniques. You are presented with 3 expressions and you need to find the 4th one. The first expression is 1 by 2 plus 3. The second expression is 2 by 3 plus 4. The third expression is 3 by 4 plus 5. The 4th expression would need to be selected and rationalized out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 3 by 5 plus 4. Choice B, 4 by 5 plus 6. Choice C, 6 by 5 plus 4. And last but not least, choice D, 7 by 4 plus 5. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Did you find your answer? I think I discovered my solution, so let's go ahead, move forward, and dissect our problem-solving methods together. I'm eager to share with you my step-by-step process and encourage you to contribute your own ingenious insights in comments. The way I see the answer is that we need to ignore the mass signs, multiplication and plus signs, and focus on the numbers themselves. Because the pattern here is actually the sequence of numbers in each row. For example, let's take a look at the row 1. The numbers are 1, 2, 3. In second row, the numbers are 2, 3, and 4. In the third row, the numbers are 3, 4, and 5. So what we see is that the number in the next row starts with the middle number of the previous row, which means that correct numbers for the row 4 would be 4, 5, and 6. So the correct answer here is choice B, 4 by 5 plus 6. This particular test question is so tricky. It's like trying to fold a fitted sheet perfectly. You think you've got it, but it ends up crumpled mess and nobody has the answer. You're presented with 3 pyramids. Each pyramid has 3 numbers on the outside and 1 number inside. In the first pyramid, the numbers are 27, 16, and 33, and the inside number is 16. In the second pyramid, the numbers are 25, 34, and 46 on the outside, and the inside number is 15. And on the last pyramid, the inside number is 14, and the numbers on the outside are 34, 47, and then comes the missing number, which you need to determine and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 52. Choice B, 53. Choice C, 54. And last but not least, choice D, 55. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Hey, whether you're a current subscriber actively tackling these questions or someone contemplating a subscription in the future, I have complete faith in your ability to overcome this challenge. Just make sure to grant yourself sufficient time for the contemplation. Are you ready? I am going to continue this adventure. Let's navigate together through the complexities and exchange solutions. Your insights could be the key to unlocking this mystery. And speaking about mysteries, I gotta share the secret with you. Only 1 digit from the whole number is used in the calculations here. So, for example, in the first pyramid, instead of using numbers 27, 16, and 33 to calculate the middle number 16, only numbers 7, 6, and 3 are used in the calculations. And sum of 7, 6 plus 3 is exactly 16. If you look at the second pyramid, the numbers 5, 4, and 6 are used in the calculation. And sum of 5, 4, and 6 is 15. So for the missing number, we need to build a quick equation. Because we know the final number 14 and 2 of the numbers used in the calculations, 4 and 7, we can build a quick equation. 14 minus 4 minus 7 equals 3. So the calculated digit here is 3, and the missing number is choice B, 53. You know, I was recently surprised to learn that it takes 3 contractors to install a new light bulb. Why? One would do the work and the other 2 will give him tips on how to do the work better. Well, the good thing about this problem is that we only need to solve it for 2 contractors. Because in our problem, 2 contractors worked on the project and earned together $1,400. First contractor worked for 3 weeks, and another contractor worked for 4 weeks. Assuming they earned the same rate, how much did the first contractor earn? And you're presented with 4 possible choices. Choice A, $200. Choice B, $500. choice C, $600, and last but not least, choice D, $900. If this problem seems confusing, believe me, it is much easier than manage 3 contractors to install a new light bulb. And whether you're a current subscriber actively tackling questions in this channel or someone considering a subscription in the future, I have complete faith in your ability to solve this challenge. Just make sure to grant yourself sufficient time for contemplation. Are you ready? I'm going to continue this project management adventure. Let's navigate the complexities together and exchange solutions. Your insight could be the help to unlocking this mystery, and if you have a better way to solve it, make sure to post it in comments. In the first step, we need to determine the facts and think critically about the relationships between parties involved, as well as duration of the project and effort. We have 2 contractors, we have 7 weeks of effort, and we have total spend of $1,400. Because we have 2 contractors here, our total earnings would be earnings of the first contractor plus earnings of the second contractor. Let's establish variable X to calculate weekly earnings. Our total earnings would be 3X for the first contractor and 4X for the second contractor, and total would be equal $1,400. 7X would be equal $1,400. Let me give you another tip here. It always helps to create visual representation or a diagram if applicable. In this case, it could be a project plan where you have contractor 1 working for 3 weeks and contractor 2 working for 4 weeks. To calculate weekly earnings for 7 weeks, we need to divide 1,400 by 7, and our weekly earnings are $200. Don't be confused though, because this is not the answer, even though we have a choice A for $200. In the last step, we need to calculate the earnings for the first contractor, who worked for 3 weeks. 3 multiplied by 200 equals 600. So the correct answer here is choice C, $600. I gotta tell you, solving this question is like navigating through the maze blindfold. Challenging, a bit disorienting, and probably not recommended. You're presented with the sequence of numbers. The numbers are 14, 17, 28, 11, 41, 71, 82, and then comes the missing number, which you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 95, choice B, 72, choice C, 11, and last but not least, choice D, 10. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. If you watched enough problems on this channel, you know that to solve these types of challenges, you need to think out of the box. The good thing is, I have full confidence that you can solve this challenge by giving yourself enough time to think about it. Are you ready? Let's move forward so we can solve and review the solution together. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. I hope you took my comment to think out of the box to heart. You do not always need to look at the sequence of numbers, but sometimes need to look at the other patterns as well. And in this case, the numbers on the opposite side of the shape are the reversed versions of themselves. Let's look at the examples. 14 becomes 41. 17 becomes 71. 28 becomes 82. And the missing number 11 is the same, 11. So the correct answer here is choice C, 11. In this section, we will look at some sample mechanical aptitude questions you typically see on the test. A mechanical aptitude test is an assessment designed to measure a person's understanding of mechanical principles and their ability to apply them in various situations. Mechanical aptitude tests typically assess several key areas, including mechanical comprehensions questions, which gauge your understanding of basic mechanical principles such as gears, pulleys, levers, and simple machines. You also get spatial reasoning questions in this test, which assess your ability to mentally manipulate the objects in 3-dimensional space. Some questions focus on tools and instruments, and they evaluate your familiarity with common tools and instruments used in mechanical work. And last but not least category is mechanical problem-solving questions, which present you with mechanical problems or scenarios and test your ability to analyze and solve them. Let's look at some sample mechanical aptitude questions we typically see on the test. I think this question is not just about engineering, but also about your critical thinking and analytical skills. If you use the same bow to shoot arrows at angles of 45 degrees, 0 degrees, and 60 degrees, which angle will make the arrow travel the farthest? You have 4 possible choices. Choice A, 45 degrees. Choice B, 0 degrees. Choice C, 60 degrees. And last but not least, choice D, neither one. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the analysis and answer, and obviously if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's start by looking at the scenario where we shoot the arrow at 0 degrees, which ultimately means horizontal shot. When you shoot it at 0 degrees, it means you're firing it horizontally parallel to the ground. In this case, the arrow initial velocity is responsible for its horizontal distance because there is no vertical component in its motion. What's interesting here is that the arrow will cover some horizontal distance, but it won't travel very far because gravity starts acting on it immediately, pulling it downward. Now let's compare it to shooting an arrow at a 60-degree angle. This means we are launching it at a steeper angle upward compared with even 45-degree angle. What's interesting in this case is that while it still have a horizontal component, more of its initial velocity is directed upward. As a result, the arrow will reach a greater height but cover less horizontal distance before it hits the ground. Which brings us to the 45-degree angle solution. If you want to make sure your arrow reach farthest horizontal distance, you should shoot it at a 45-degree angle. 45-degree angle allows for the best balance between horizontal and vertical components of an arrow's motion, maximizing its range. So the correct answer here is choice B, 45 degrees. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to share your thoughts and rationale in comments so we can all learn. Here's an amazing question which tests your knowledge of objects, their properties, and the way they move from the top of the hill down to the ground. You're presented with 3 different objects, and you need to determine which object will reach ground first when pushed to slide from the top of the hill. You have 4 possible choices to select from. Choice A, wheel. Choice B, wooden box. Choice C, sticky substance. And last but not least, choice D, they all reach the ground at the same time. Take a close look, maybe pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I have my selection, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To determine the answer, let's look at each object individually. This will help us decide all the considerations related to their sliding from the top of the hill down to the ground. Let's start with the cube. Cube's shape may cause it to experience higher levels of friction against the slide, slowing its descent. But at the same time, sticky substance may move even slower, because the behavior of sticky substance will largely depend on its viscosity and adhesive properties. If the substance is highly viscous and adheres strongly to the slide, it may experience significant resistance and it will take much longer for it to reach the ground. In some scenarios, depending upon viscosity, the sticky substance may never reach the ground at all. Based on this, I think most likely sticky substance will be the slowest in reaching down the bottom of the slide, followed by the cube, which would be second in the sliding down. So, as you might have guessed, I am putting my bets on the wheel. I think wheel's rolling motion will help reduce friction with the slide, allowing wheel to move more smoothly. This is why the wheel may reach the ground faster than all other objects. This is why I think the correct answer is choice A, wheel, because the wheel will roll and will have minimum friction to reach the ground. Did you come to the different conclusion? If yes, please make sure to post your answer, solution, and rationale in comments so we can all learn. Here's a very interesting question where you need to demonstrate your knowledge of tools and their uses. Samir is about to tackle a tricky repair job. You need to identify the essential tool featured in the image and select the option that best matches it. You're presented with 5 choices. Choices A, B, C, D, E. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve this, as usual, please post in comments. I believe you probably recognize the tool shown. It is screwdriver. But this is only the first step. In the second step, we need to identify all other tools shown and determine their relationship with screwdriver. I think choice A is a knife. A knife is a cutting tool, and it is not closely related to a screwdriver. Choice B is a nail. A nail is a fastening tool, which is used to join materials, but it's also not directly related to the screwdriver. Choice D is a hammer. And hammer is a tool that's used to drive nails or other fasteners, which is different from screwdriver's primary function. And choice E is a bolt, which is the type of fastener, like a screw, but it's not directly related to a screwdriver. So, as you might have guessed, the correct answer here is choice C, screw. In fact, screwdriver is specifically designed for turning screws. When using a screwdriver, you insert its tip into the head of a screw and turn it to tighten or loosen the screw. You can even guess it based on the names, screwdriver and screw. This relationship between the screwdriver and the screw makes choice C the most closely related tool or object to the screwdriver in the given options. Was your answer different? Or maybe you had other considerations? If you did, please make sure to post them in comments so we can all learn. I love this question because it tests your spatial reasoning. And if you try to solve it on your own, it boosts your IQ and intelligence. You're presented with unusually looking shape, which have some measurements, and you need to calculate the perimeter of the given shape and select it out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 6 feet. Choice B, 10 feet. Choice C, 12 feet. And last but not least, choice D, 14 feet. Take a close look to see if you can calculate the answer. I am pretty sure if you're a subscriber to this channel and practice these types of problems regularly, you'll do it easily. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better solution, please make sure to post your answer and solution in comments. As you might be well aware, to calculate the perimeter, you need to add up the length of all the sides. In our object, we're presented with the steps that have measurements. And this object also has a solid sides at the bottom and on the left. So first, let's calculate the perimeter of the steps. The top sides are all 1 feet, and the heights of every step is also 1 feet. So the steps would be calculated 1 feet plus 1 feet, plus 1 feet plus 1 feet, and then you do it 6 times because it has 6 sides, which means that perimeter of all the steps would be 6 feet. The bottom area, based on the measurements, would be 3 feet, and the left area would be 3 feet as well. So the total perimeter would be 6 feet for the steps, then 3 for the bottom, and we also need to add 3 feet for the left area, which would total to 12 feet. So the correct answer here is choice C, 12 feet. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your solution and rationale in comments. And now I have a question for you to practice your skills. You're presented with the seesaw. On the left of the seesaw there is a weight, and on the right side of the seesaw there is an acrobat. You need to determine in which direction should the acrobat move his body to balance the seesaw. And you have 2 choices, choice A to the left or choice B to the right. Take a close look, maybe pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer. And once ready, make sure to post your answer in comments so I can give you my feedback. Thanks for participating and good luck solving the challenge. Here's an amazing question to see how well you know the tools. You're presented with 5 tools and you need to match the tool with the task performed. Choice 1, tool is used for making curved cuts in various materials. Choice 2 is used to loosen or tighten plumbing pipes. Choice 3, used to apply sparkle or correction putty. Choice 4 is used to apply lubrication to gears and machinery. And last but not least, choice 5 is used for cutting down trees, trimming branches, and processing woods. And you need to match this description with choices A, B, C, D, and E. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Are you ready? I think I'm ready on my end, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's start with the choice 1. I believe the description for choice 1 is a jigsaw. Jigsaw is a handheld power tool equipped with the reciprocating blade used for making intricate curved cuts in the materials such as wood, metal, or plastic. And description 1 matches image B. I think choice 2 matches the pipe wrench. And a pipe wrench is a specialized hand tool used for gripping and turning plumbing pipes to tighten or loosen them during installation or repair. As you might have guessed, description 2 matches the image E. I think description 3 matches putty knife. And the putty knife is a flat, flexible tool, often with a metal blade used for applying and smoothing substances like spackle, correction putty, or paint on surfaces. And description 3 matches choice C. I think choice 4 is a grease gun. A grease gun is a handheld device designed for applying lubricating grease to machinery, gears, or bearings to reduce friction or maintain proper functioning. And last but not least, description 5 resembles a chainsaw. Chainsaw is a portable mechanical saw with a rotating chain of sharp teeth, commonly used for felling trees, cutting branches, and processing wood in forestry, construction, or landscaping. You can see grease gun matching image A and chainsaw matching image D. Did you come up with any other conclusions? Or maybe have some other thoughts about this question? Please make sure to post your feedback and rationale in comments so we can all learn. This is one of the most exciting questions because it allows you to test your analytical skills and understanding of physics. You need to determine which fan throws more air if all the fans rotate at the same speed. The choices are fan A, fan B, fan C, and last but not least, choice D, neither fan. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Are you ready? I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might be well aware, there are two key factors to help determine the airflow rate. The first one is the size of the fan's blade, and the second one is rotational speed of the fan, which is measured in RPMs, which stands for revolution per minute. A fan with the larger blades can capture and move more air per revolution compared to the same fan design with the smaller blades. And this is exactly what we're dealing with here in this question. In addition, the rotational speed of the fan affects the airflow design. The higher RPM generally results in a higher airflow rate as the fan blades are able to move through the air at the faster rate. As you can see here, the fans A, B, and C all have the same design. This is why, given the fact that 3 fans have the same design but different sizes, the fan with the largest size will throw more air compared to the smaller fans. This is why the correct answer here is choice C. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please share your answer and rationale in comments. Here's an absolutely brilliant and at the same time very tricky question, but I have full confidence that you'll be able to solve it. You need to determine which item is the heaviest. And you're presented with 4 possible choices. Choice A, 2 pounds of iron. Choice B, 2 pounds of cotton. Choice C, 2 pounds of potatoes. And last but not least, choice D, neither one. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. I am pretty sure you already have an answer by now, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might have figured out, all 3 objects, 2 pounds of iron, 2 pounds of potatoes, and 2 pounds of cotton, will have the same weight. The explanation for this is that the weight of an object is determined by the force of gravity acting on it, and this force is proportional to the mass of the object. Since all 3 objects have a mass of 2 pounds, they will experience the same gravitational force and therefore will have the same weight. But the confusion here is that the density of these objects is different. Density is a measure of how much mass is packed into a given volume. Iron is much denser than potatoes or cotton. This is why, if you have to compare the volume occupied by each object, the iron will take up less space than the potatoes or the cotton. Presented images are very misleading and were designed to confuse you. So the correct answer here is choice D, neither object, since neither object is the heaviest. And now I have a question for you to practice your skills. We have 3 different scenarios of person moving the object, choices A, B, and C. if all items weighed the same, which object would be easiest to move forward if the same person is pushing with equal force. You need to select one out of 4 possible choices, choices A, B, C, or choice D, neither one. When you solve this challenge, please make sure to post your answer in comments so I can give you my feedback. Thanks for participating and good luck. I love this question because it really boosts your IQ and improves your intelligence. You're presented with 3 rows of objects. Each object represents a square and circle inside. You need to select the missing object out of 4 possible choices, choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the solution. I have full confidence that you figured it out by now, and this is why I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To better solve this challenge, let's assign columns and rows to each object here in the picture. We will have columns A, B, and C, and rows 1, 2, and 3. This would allow us to reference objects better. As you might have guessed, each row describes the pattern of ball bouncing against the wall. Let's start by looking at the object A1. This is where the ball in the upper left corner, and it moves downwards toward the middle of the bottom section. And this is where exactly we see the ball in the object B1. After that, ball bounces and moves upward, and this is how we see it in C1. When ball bounces against the wall, it travels in the direction based on the angle of the initial impact. After the initial impact, the ball will continue moving in the new direction until acted upon by another force, such as hitting another wall or an object. Let's confirm this pattern by looking at the row 2. In the object A2, we see the ball against the left wall. Then it moves toward the bottom wall, and then bounces against the bottom wall, and then moves toward the right wall. Knowing the pattern, we can easily detect the answer now. If you look closely at the picture, the ball in the row 3 moves from the position 1 to the position 2, and then to the position 3. So the correct answer here is choice C. Did you get to the same answer? Or maybe you know the tips how to solve these problems better. Please make sure to post and share them in comments so we can all learn. Here's an amazing question to test your knowledge of mechanical movement of objects. You're presented with the picture of person moving the object, and you need to determine if all objects weigh the same, which one will be easiest to move forward if the same person is pushing with equal force. You need to select one out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, person moving forward a cube. Choice B, person moving forward a hexagon. Choice C, person moving forward a ball. And last but not least is neither one. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution, and obviously if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's analyze all shapes individually to better understand the answer. Let's start with the cube. Cube typically has a symmetrical weight distribution, which can contribute to its stability when moving on the ground. However, due to its edges and corners, a cube can experience higher levels of friction when compared to objects with rounded shapes and will be hard to roll. Most likely way of moving the cube forward would be pushing it, which will create a lot of resistance. Now let's look at the hexagon. Hexagon has 6 sides, and the shape can vary depending upon the specific dimensions and proportions. Compared to a cube, a hexagon generally has fewer edges and corners, which reduces the friction and makes it easier to move on the ground by rolling. Even though it might be easier to move than the cube, the ease of movement will also depend on the specific dimensions and weight distribution of the hexagon. Which brings us to choice C, sphere or ball, which typically has a smooth surface. The absence of edges and corners reduces the contact area with the ground, which results in a lower friction. This makes it easier to move the ball forward by rolling on the ground, compared to objects with edges or corners. This is why choice C is correct. It will have minimum friction and will facilitate smooth movement with minimum resistance. Here's the challenging problem by solving which you will boost your cognitive abilities. You're presented with 5 hints, and using these hints, you need to unlock the code and open the lock. The hints are: in the digits 2, 4, 8, only one digit is correct and well placed. In the digits 8, 4, 5, two digits are correct but not correctly placed. In the digits 4, 6, 1, only one digit is correct and it is correctly placed. In the digits 5, 9, 2, only one digit is correct and it is well placed. And last but not least, hint that in the digits 9, 0, 4, none of the digits are correct. To open the lock, you need to process all the hints and select one out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 518. Choice B, 485. Choice C, 418. And last but not least, choice D, 568. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. I'm pretty sure you're done solving it by now, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer and solution. And if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might have guessed, you solve this problem through elimination. And I'm going to start with the hint number 5, because it's the most helpful of all. Once we've learned that in combination 904 none of the digits are correct, we can eliminate 2 possible answers. We can eliminate both choices B and C because both of them have digit 4, which is an incorrect digit. Let's continue elimination to get to the correct answer. If we look through the remaining 4 hints, we learn that in hint 1, where digits are 2, 4, 8, only one digit is correctly placed, which is digit 8. In hint 2, 2 digits are correct, but they're not correctly placed, and they're digits 8 and 5. In hint 3, only one digit 6 is correct, and it is correctly placed. And last but not least, in hint 4, digit 5 is correct, and it is well placed. Based on this, the correct answer here is choice D, 568. Do you have any hints to show how to best solve these types of challenges? If you do, please make sure to post them in comments. I love this question because it truly tests your knowledge of mechanical engineering. You're presented with acrobat and the weight on a seesaw. You need to determine in which direction should the acrobat move his body to balance the seesaw. And you only have 2 choices, choice A to the left or choice B to the right. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might be well aware, the seesaw is an example of a lever, where fulcrum is between the effort and the load. In our example, we have a weight on the left side of the seesaw and acrobat on the right side of the seesaw. The key principle of balancing the seesaw is when a force is applied to the end of the lever can lift the weight at the other end. For the seesaw to be balanced, the torque applied to the acrobat must increase. Since the acrobat's weight is constant, the only way to increase the input torque is by increasing the distance from the fulcrum. If acrobat moves in the direction B, this will shift the acrobat's center of gravity further from the fulcrum, resulting in a greater torque, thereby balancing it. So the correct answer here is choice B, moving the acrobat to the right. Here's an amazing problem where you need to exercise your brain and cognitive skills by calculating not just one number, but 2 numbers. You're presented with the scale, and you see that the value of diamond as well as the sum values are missing. And you need to ensure that scale remains balanced by calculating the value of the diamond as well as the sum. And once you've done with your calculations, you need to select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, values 18 and 96. Choice B, values 12 and 88. Choice C, values 20 and 92. And last but not least, choice D, values 19 and 94. Take a close look, maybe pause this video to see if you can complete the calculations. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the calculations. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To solve this challenge, let's look at the picture closely to better understand what we're dealing with. We're presented with the multi-tier scale, and this scale has 4 tiers: Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. Scale remains in balance because values on the left side and on the right side are equal, and the values are represented by the total of numbers inside of each shape. For example, circle has number 12, hexagon has number 6, triangle has number 3, and square has number 4. Let's look closely at Tier 3 to better understand how this tier remains in balance. As I already mentioned, each tier remains in balance because the numbers are equal on both sides. So on the left of the Tier 3, we have 2 hexagons with total value of 12. On the right of the tier 3, we have hexagon, which equals number 6, plus 2 triangles, 3 plus 3. So on both sides, the total value is 12. This is why tier 3 remains in balance. Now let's look closely at the tier 2. On the left of the tier 2, we have 2 circles. Each circle has a value of 12. 2 circles would be equal 24. On the left of the tier 2, we have 2 circles with total value of 24 and the entire tier 3, which also equals 24. This what keeps tier 2 in balance. Now, knowing this logic, we can calculate the missing value on tier 4. Because tier 4 needs to remain in balance, the value of 12 plus 6 should be equal to the missing value, which means that the missing value is 18. And the total sum will be calculated as the sum of all the numbers. The sum of tier 2 and tier 3 would be 24 plus 24 plus 48 on the right side of tier 1, which would equal 96. So the correct answer here is choice A, 18 and 96. Did you get to the different answer? Please make sure to post your answer and solution in comments. Let's look at the question where you need to determine the trajectory after parachutists jump from the plane. Obviously, based on the wind and other external conditions, there would be multiple choices, but fortunately, you need to select only one out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, and C. And if none of the choices A, B, and C is correct, you need to select choice D, which would represent neither one. Take a close look to see what is the parachutist's trajectory after jumping from the plane. I have full confidence in your skills and knowledge, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To better understand the answer, we need to determine what changes from when parachutist is inside the plane and when parachutist jumps from the plane. When parachutist is inside the plane, both the parachutist and the airplane are moving together in the same direction. When parachutist jumps from the plane, there are multiple forces that will determine the trajectory. Number 1 is inertia. According to Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, the parachutist will continue moving forward in the direction of the plane. Initially, the parachutist will have the velocity they had inside the plane, but they will slow down over time due to air resistance. Another force that will define the trajectory is the force of gravity. As soon as the parachutist leaves the plane, they will be subject to the force of gravity. Gravity pulls the parachutist downward toward the earth. And the last force that will drive the trajectory would be acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity is the force that pulls objects toward the earth. When something is in the air, gravity causes it to fall toward the ground. The acceleration due to gravity is always the same for all objects near the Earth's surface, and it means that objects will fall faster and faster the longer they fall. So let's look closely at what's going to happen after parachutist jumps. After jumping, the parachutist initially maintains the horizontal velocity due to inertia. Once outside the airplane, they accelerate downward due to gravity until they reach terminal velocity. The deployment of the parachute increases air resistance, allowing for controlled descent, allowing parachutists to land safely. The closest answer that describes the solution is choice A. Is this what you got in your answer? If not, please make sure to post your solution and rationale in comments so we can all learn. In this section, we will look at the sample questions for cognitive test, which represents an assessment used by employers to evaluate candidates' mental abilities such as problem solving, critical thinking, and memory. The questions in the test can vary, but typically involve math problems, logic puzzles, spatial reasoning, and verbal comprehension. Let's look at some sample cognitive assessment test questions we typically see on the test. What's interesting about this problem is that it seems unsolvable, but if you make one correct assumption, it's so easy to solve it. You're presented with the shelf of items from the coffee shop, and the items are cupcakes and cookies. There are 3 sets of items, and 2 sets have price tags associated with them, and the last set does not, and you need to calculate the price tag for the last set. The first set consists of 1 cookie and 1 cupcake, and the price tag for the first set is $7. The second set consists of 2 cookies and 1 cupcake, and the price tag for the second set is $12. The last set consists of only 1 cupcake, and you need to calculate and select price for the cupcake out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, $5. Choice B, $4. Choice C, $2. And last but not least, choice D, $3. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Did you figure it out? It seems unsolvable, but the only thing you need to make is one assumption. And using this assumption, I'm going to move forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Take a close look at the first set. The first set consists of cookie and cupcake, and it costs $7. What's interesting is that the second set already includes the first set plus the cookie, which allows us to calculate the price of this extra cookie. And we can do it by subtracting 7 from 12, and the end result of it is $5, which means that the price of cookie is $5. Now we can easily calculate the price of cupcake by subtracting 5 from 7, which means that the total price of cupcake is 2. So the correct answer here is choice C, $2. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer, solution, and rationale in comments. And now I have something that maybe you were not expecting. Here's the practice question for you. You need to find the missing number, and you're presented with 4 scales. 3 scales have items on the left side and the number on the right side to make them equal. And 4th scale only has items on the left and missing number on the right in the form of question mark. You need to calculate the question mark out of 4 different choices. Choice A, 60. Choice B, 65. Choice C, 70. And then last but not least, choice D, 75. Take a close look. Maybe pause this video for 10 to 15 seconds to see if you can come up with the solution. Once you're ready, please make sure to post your answer in the comments so I can give you my feedback. Thanks for participating and good luck. Here's a very interesting question to test your spatial reasoning. You're presented with partial square, and you need to find the missing shape to build the full square. You have 4 different choices to choose from to complete the square. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. And on my end, I'm moving forward to share with you the correct solution. As you might have figured out, the correct choice here is choice D. And to get to this answer, you need to look at the shape which fits perfectly to match the edges. Since this is the 5 by 5 square, choice D is the perfect shape because it matches perfectly to create a full square. Hopefully you've nailed this question on your own and now know how to answer similar problems on the test. And now I have a question for you to test your skills. You're presented with the series of objects, and you need to determine next object in the sequence. Please choose one of the following 4 choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Do you see the correct answer? Please make sure to post your version in comments. This would allow me to give you my feedback. Thanks for participating and good luck. Here's an amazing question where we need to find the missing number. You're presented with the tree-looking like structure, and it has the numbers in the circles on the top. The numbers are, if we start from the left, 50, 216, 880, and then comes the missing number. You need to calculate and select the missing number out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 1290. Choice B, 2565. Choice C, 2941. And last but not least, choice D, 3536. I'm gonna give you a quick hint. Take a close look to see what exactly do you see on this picture. And you see circles, you see stamps, and you see numbers. And here's another consideration. Do you think the fact that circles have different colors matters? Or it doesn't? Give yourself 10 to 15 seconds to see if you can figure it out. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. The pattern here is rather simple, but it takes a little bit of time to detect it. If we start from the left, from the smallest number, and go clockwise, the next number is calculated as a previous value multiplied by the total number of lines plus total number of circles. Let's look at the example. The first number is 50 in the purple circle, and it's given, not calculated. The second number, though, is calculated previous number 50 multiplied by 4 plus 16, and the result of this is 216. Third number is calculated as 216 multiplied by 4 plus 16 and equals 880. Now you might be wondering what is 4 and where it came from and what is 16. The 4 is number of stem lines in this structure. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 16 is the total number of circles. If you count them, you see 4 circles on the forefront, the ones that have number and missing number. And then there are also 12 circles in the background. Now we have all of this information and we can calculate the missing number. It is calculated as 880 multiplied by 4, then we add 16, and the end result of this is 3,536. So the correct answer here is choice D, 3,536. Hopefully you've nailed this problem and now know how to answer similar problems on the test. But in case you need more challenges like this, please make sure to check out the description for additional resources. One of the most frequent questions we get on this channel is how to improve your pattern recognition skills. This is so important because it's an essential skill to help you pass an employment assessment test. Let me introduce you to one of the most common English pattern called palindromes. Palindromes is a letter-based pattern which allows you to read the same word backwards and forwards. Let's look at some key examples of the words that used in the test. For example, words radar, civic, level, a race car, henna, madam, noon, pop, eve, kayak, rotator, stats, tenet, wow, and a lot of others. Do you know any those other words, interesting palindromes that I didn't mention here? Please make sure to post them in comments so we can all learn. And now let's continue to get you ready for the test. Here's an absolutely phenomenal question, which is absolutely not obvious how to solve it. Instead of one question mark, you need to find 2 question marks. You're presented with 3 triangles. All triangles have a circle on the top. Blue triangle has 3 numbers inside. Starting from the top, the numbers are 3, 7, and 4, and number on the top is 6. Yellow triangle has numbers 2, 4, and 2, and there is a missing number on the top. Green triangle has numbers 5, 9, and 4, and missing number on the top. Take a close look to see if you can find 2 missing number and select out of 4 different choices. Choice A, 10 and 4. Choice B, 1 and 8. Choice C, 6 and 3. And choice D, 2 and 2. Do you know the answer? I gotta tell you, the answer is not really obvious, but I know how smart you are, and together we should be able to solve it. Are you ready? Hear me out. The pattern here is that to calculate the number on the top of the triangle, you need to use inside upper number added to the number on the right, and then you should subtract the left number. For example, for the blue triangle, which has all the numbers, the calculations will be 3 plus 7 minus 4 equals 6. For the green triangle, the calculations will be 5 plus 9 minus 4 equals 10. And for the yellow triangle, the calculations will be 2 plus 4 minus 2 equals 4. So the correct choice here is answer A, 10 and 4. Did you figure it out? Please make sure to post your answer, rationale, and thought process in comments. I get a lot of questions on how to improve your pattern recognition skills. Let me share with you 3 common patterns we frequently see on the test. Let's start with triangular numbers. Triangular numbers are the numbers that can be represented as a sum of consecutive integers starting with 1. For example, the first 5 triangular numbers would be 1, 3, 6, 10, and 15. Next one on my list are square numbers. Square numbers are the numbers that can be represented by a product of a number multiplied by itself. For example, the first 5 square numbers are 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. Because 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, and 5 square is 25. And last but not least on my list are cube numbers. Cube numbers are numbers that can be represented as a product of a number multiplied by itself twice. For example, the first 5 cube numbers are 1, 8, 27, 64, and 125. Because 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, 3 cube is 27, 4 cube is 64, and 5 cube is 125. Do you know any other interesting numerical patterns I didn't mention here? Please make sure to post them in comments so we can all learn. And now let's continue to get you ready for the test. Here's the question of intermediate complexity we frequently see on the test. You're presented with 4 shapes, and one shape has a missing number in the middle. You need to calculate the pattern and calculate the missing number, selecting it by one of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 22. Choice B, 23. Choice C, 25. And then last but not least, choice D, 24. Take a close look at the shapes and see if you can calculate the pattern. Let me share with you my logic and rationale, and obviously if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to share in comments. I think the pattern here is that to calculate the middle number, you need to multiply the top 2 numbers and subtract 1. Then add the bottom number. Let's look at the first shape to confirm the logic. 2 multiplied by 3 minus 1 equals 5. 5 plus 2, which is the bottom number, equals the middle number, which is 7. Let's apply the same pattern to the shape with the missing number. 8 multiplied by 3 minus 1 equals 24 minus 1 equals 23. 23 plus 2 equals the missing number, which means that the missing number is 25. So the correct choice here is choice C, 25. Did you see any other patterns or found the better ways to solve it? Please make sure to post your answer and rationale in comments. One of the very frequent questions we get on this channel is how to improve your pattern recognition skills. One of the key ways is to use your imagination. You can use imagination to visualize items in your mind, and this is one of the most powerful techniques. Let's take a close look at the example. Here, you're required to build English business word, and you need to use all the letters only once. If you look closely and try to visualize and build the answer in your mind, you can mentally connect the letters and get to the correct answer, which is the word management. It might be hard to do it initially, but if you do crosswords and puzzles, you can improve your skills and get better at this with practice. Do you have any other interesting techniques that you can share? Please make sure to post them in comments so we can all learn. Here's an interesting question where you need to find the missing number. You're presented with the set of numbers 4, 9, 20, 8, 5, 14, 10, 3, and then comes the missing number. You need to select or calculate the missing number out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 4. Choice B, 11. Choice C, 13. And choice D, 34. Take a close look at this 3x3 matrix to see if you can come up with the solution. I hope by now you have a good understanding of the problem and maybe pause this video trying to solve it, because on my end I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. And the pattern here is that the manipulation with the left and the middle number calculate right column's number. Basically, in each row, the third number is the sum of half of the first number and 2 times the second number. Let's look at the specific calculations. The first row has numbers 4, 9, and 20. 4 divided by 2 plus 9 multiplied by 2 equals 2 plus 18 and equals 20, which is exactly the number in the third column. Second row contains numbers 8, 5, and 14. 8 divided by 2 plus 5 multiplied by 2 equals 4 plus 10 and equals 14. And now we are ready to calculate the missing number. 10 divided by 2 plus 3 multiplied by 2 equals 5 plus 6 and equals 11. So the correct choice here is choice B, 11. Do you have a better answer? Please make sure to share your thoughts and rationale in comments. Here's the problem for you to test your business math skills as well as attention to details. You need to calculate the value by multiplying number of coins in the cent clock by the number of dollar signs. You need to select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 190, choice B, 200, choice C, 210, and last but not least, choice D, 230. Once you complete the calculations, please make sure to post your answer and calculations in comments so I can give you my feedback. Thanks for participating and good luck. Here's a rather unexpected question you might frequently see on the test. You need to determine during which period revenue declined, and you're presented with the profit and loss chart that covers periods from 2018 to 2024. On the chart, you see 3 lines representing revenue, expenses, and taxes. And you need to select the final answer out of 4 different choices. Choice A, the period between 2018 and 2020. Choice B, the period between 2019 and 2020. Choice C, the period between 2020 and 2021. And choice D, the period between 2023 and 2024. Give yourself a little bit of time, maybe pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution. I'm pretty sure that by now you found it, but I'm going to move forward and reveal you my version of the solution anyway. And if you know the better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. The way I see it is that the revenue goes down between the period of 2020 and 2021, which is represented by the blue line. In 2020, the revenue was about 9.5 units, and then in 2021, it went down to approximately 8.5 units. All other highlighted periods in the question indicate revenue increases. Did you see it differently? Please make sure to post your answer in comments. In this section, we will look at the personality assessment test questions. A personality assessment test is a type of psychological evaluation used during the hiring process to assess candidates' personality traits, behavioral tendencies, and work-related preferences. This test aims to provide insights on how a candidate might behave, interact with others, and fit into the company's culture. The typical purpose of personality assessment is to gauge a candidate's suitability for a particular job or work environment based on their personality traits. Personality assessment test helps employers to identify individuals who possess the desired characteristics and align with the organizational values. Let's look at some sample personality assessment test questions we typically see on the test. Here's a very interesting question which you cannot just answer because you need a strategy and approach on how to answer. You need to select from 2 statements, one that best describes you and one that describes you the least. And your choices for selections are: choice A, I should have all the information before making a decision. Choice B, I easily communicate with people. Choice C, I like to take responsibility for my team. And last but not least, choice D, I prefer long-term projects over short-term ones. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. And more importantly, you need to decide on what type of considerations you would choose to answer this particular question. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. I think is that the most important consideration here to answer this question is job relevance. You need to consider the requirements and responsibilities of the role that you're applying for. For example, one differentiation might be individual contributor role versus a leadership role. By doing this differentiation, the describe me the most will identify statements that will demonstrate the good fit for the particular job position. And for describe me the least will provide reasons why, based on the position, this may not be applicable. And obviously, you would need to support the answer with the examples from your past career. Let's look at how you might consider answering this question if you're applying for individual contributor jobs. The individual contributor jobs is where you as individual responsible for the outcomes. Samples of these jobs might be data analyst, research scientist, software engineer, quality assurance specialist, financial analyst, technical writer, graphics designer, and a lot of others. Here, the preferential answers would be choices A and D. Let's look at choice A first. Choice A, I should have all the information before making the decision. The statement for individual contributor job suggests a preference for thoughtfulness and careful decision-making. In an individual contributor role, it's important to be detailed-oriented and make informed decisions based on available information. This trait can be valuable in roles that require precise execution and attention to details. Choice D, I prefer long-term projects over short-term ones, is also preferred for individual contributor roles. This statement indicates a preference for working on the projects that have longer duration. In an individual contributor role, this trait may be beneficial for tasks or projects that require patience, persistence, and focus on long-term goals. It suggests an ability to sustain effort and commitment over the extended periods of time. Now, if you're applying for leadership position, you might consider choosing choices B and C as the ones that would represent you as a candidate for this position. Leadership positions are positions like team lead, project manager, director, vice president, department manager, sales manager, marketing manager, operations managers, human resources manager, and a lot of others. Let's look at both choices B and C individually to see why selecting them might be beneficial when applying for leadership positions. Choice B, I easily communicate with people. This statement highlights strong interpersonal communication skills, which are essential for a leadership position. Effective communication is crucial for building relationships, conveying information, and motivating and influencing others. Strong communication skills can contribute for successful leadership and collaboration within the team. Choice C, I like to take responsibility for my team, highlights the desire to take ownership and accountability for the success in the team. In a leadership position, the ability to assume responsibility, provide guidance, and support team members is crucial. It indicates a willingness to lead by example, make decisions, and make necessary actions to drive team performance and achieve goals. One important point to understand is that I'm not asking you to provide an incorrect answers. I'm asking you to decide how your past experiences can be helpful to the role you're applying for. There is a valid you selected to apply for this particular position, and the reason is because you believe your qualifications are aligned with position description. So what you need to do here, answering this question, you need to align the answers with the job requirements. My 3 recommendations for you on how to answer these types of questions is provide authenticity, provide self-reflection, and provide supporting examples. Let's look at each one individually to help you decide how to answer this particular question. Let's look at number 1, authenticity. You need to provide honest and genuine responses that accurately reflect your personality traits and tendencies. It is essential to be true to yourself and true to your employer rather than trying to present what you think the employer might be looking for. Number 2 is self-reflection. Take a moment to reflect on your own characteristics and behaviors. Consider your strengths, weaknesses, preferences, and areas where you excel or struggle. And number 3, think of the supporting examples. Justify your choices by providing specific examples or instances from your past experience. This helps add credibility to your responses and allows the employer to understand your reasons and thought process. Next, I'm going to share with you my answer if you're applying for the leadership position. And I'm also going to ask you to provide your answer for the individual contributor role. For example, if you're applying for leadership position, I recommend that you choose choice C and choice A. Choice C, I like to take responsibility for my team, would represent the answer that best describes you. Your actual justification for this choice may sound like this. As a leader, I thrive on guiding and supporting my team towards success. I believe that fostering a collaborative and empowering work environment where individuals can grow and excel. Taking responsibility for my team means ensuring their development, providing guidance when needed, and creating a cohesive and motivated group that can achieve outstanding results. The statement that describes you the least might be choice A, and choice A states, I should have all the information needed before making the decision. The justification for the answer might be, while I value the thoughtfulness and informed decision-making, as a leader, I understand that time-sensitive situations may require making decisions with limited information. I am comfortable relying on my experience, intuition, and the input of trusted team members to make timely decisions while considering the available information. I'm also open to adjusting decisions as more information becomes available to ensure the best possible outcomes. Now, what do you think the answer should be for the individual contributor role? Please make sure to post your answer, recommendation, and justification in comments of this video so we can all learn. I love this question because it tests candidates' ability to prioritize as well as candidates' leadership skills. You're presented with the question where you need to select two statements. One statement that best describes you and another that describes you the least. The four possible answers to this question would be A. I can organize my work schedule by myself. Choice B. I work even better when everything goes wrong. Choice C. I think small details are important. And last but not least, choice D. I like to be best player on my team. Take a close look to see if you can come up with two answers. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's first look at the important considerations on how you can select the right answer. There are three important considerations here, and they all fall into one category: job relevance. You need to consider the requirements and responsibilities of the role you're applying for. Number two, you need to think about how each statement relates to the demands of the position. And last but not least, number three, you need to choose the statement that demonstrates a good fit for the job and showcases qualities that would be beneficial for the specific context. Let's take a look at how you would select the right answer in the specific categories. Let's start by looking at the choice A. I can organize my work schedule by myself. If you choose this answer, it would show that you're a self-structured person that could work independently. Choice B. I work even better when everything goes wrong shows your stress tolerance, your ability to work in stressful and unpredictable situations. Choice C. I think small details are important would show your level of attention to details that could be important for jobs such as accounting, programming, controller, and other jobs that require attention to details. And last but not least, choice D, I like to be the best player on my team, shows how competitive you are. This is a good choice for the sales position, but could be a problematic choice for the manager roles. Let's look at the examples of the choices that best describe me. One of the choices that you might select would be choice A. I can organize my work schedule by myself. I'm a very disciplined person. I can independently prioritize different tasks, and I can take responsibility of the results of my job. I prefer to organize my work schedule by myself without over-attention from managers. I can be much more productive by working in this way. This is why I selected the choice A. I can organize my work schedule by myself. Now let's look at the choice that least describes you and considerations you might consider providing. For that statement, I selected choice D. I like to be the best player on my team. Of course, I want to show off my skills and I want results be fairly evaluated. But I understand the importance of teamwork for good results. And in this way, I can do a back office job when it's necessary. I will put overall results of my team in the first place, even if it's temporarily slows down my own results and my progress. Do you have any other suggestions on how you can answer this type of questions? Please make sure to post them in comments so we can all learn. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you for helping us to become one of the largest YouTube channels to help people become smarter, increase your IQ, and to pass any test. If the content of this video was helpful, please make sure to click the like button to help YouTube algorithm promote this video and help other people to find it faster. Giving us a like is also a way for you to tell us that you need more content like this, and when you tell us, we will deliver it for you in the future. For links to free and premium resources, please check the description and comments of this video. You can also go directly to our website, howtoanalyzedata.net, to download the materials related to this topic. I really appreciate your endorsement, support, and patronage of this channel. And thank you for considering to become a member and considering to subscribe. Please leave feedback, suggestions, or corrections in comments. And all the best on your journey. I'll see you in my next video.